Hello and welcome to Literally Heinous. If you're watching on video, sorry, the lighting is kind of crazy right now. It's evening, so I don't know what's going on. Like the sun's setting at different times. It's hot now, which is crazy. Winter in New York was so bad this year. This is my second winter in New York, and it was terrible. It was honestly so terrible. But it's now warm, but the pollen is killing me. My eyes itch all the time. But I'm just so happy it's warm and I'm happy that it's almost summer. Okay, a lot to catch up on. I just got back from Europe. So I was in Spain and Portugal for 12 days. So I went because my younger brother is studying abroad in Madrid. So I went with my mom, my stepdad, and my boyfriend Jack. We went to Barcelona for 4 days, Madrid for 4 days, and then just Jack and I went to Lisbon, Portugal for like 3 days. Does that add up to 12? Let me know. It's basically 12. So it was a lot. Okay, I have not okay, so I've been to Europe before, like shorter trips, like family trips, but I haven't like hardcore traveled in my life really. So I was supposed to I had this big Europe trip when I graduated college in May 2020. So you can obviously that trip didn't happen. So I was thinking I haven't been to Europe since like high school basically. And I haven't been to Spain before. I had not been to Spain before. And I felt the whole trip, I had a really good time, but I felt really tired the whole time. And I was so like weirdly in my head. I was like, am I not like a travel gal? Like I always fancied myself kind of like laid back and like go with the flow, adventurous, but I was fucking exhausted every second. I was exhausted every fucking second of that trip. So I did learn a lot of valuable lessons about international travel. So Jack and I flew from New York to Barcelona at 6 p.m. on a Friday night, and we were to land at 7 a.m. Barcelona time, which was really 2 a.m. And I was like, oh, this will be great. I'll sleep on the plane, which, uh, and it like, I didn't. So basically, Jack and I didn't sleep on the plane at all because it was so unnatural to fall asleep at it. The flight almost felt short in a weird way. So the flight, I think, was maybe 5.5 hours or 6 hours. So we take off, we're like in the air, wheels up by like 7, and then we know dinner's coming. So dinner, like the first round of drink service comes, and then food service comes. We flew Delta, by the way, if that means anything to anyone. And then by the time like food was served, dinner was cleaned up, like lights go off in the cabin, sleepy time. It was really only like 8:30, which just like I wasn't really tired, and I had brought a Benadryl because I am a Benadryl stan when I'm tired or when I want to be tired. And this is not literally heinous is not a health podcast, so do not take health advice from me. But I come from a Benadryl family. And when I was little, like if I couldn't sleep or whatever, my mom would always give me Benadryl. And now, if I'm just like having a really restless night, I will take a Benadryl. Or if I'm not tired, but I need to be tired to sleep, I will take a Benadryl, which you're not supposed to do. I really don't do it that often, maybe like once a quarter. But I did bring Benadryl for the flight. And I'm also like very like pill conscious. Like I don't really like taking medicine if I don't need it, or I don't really like fucking around with like even over the counter pills. I don't know. I just get really nervous. Like one time a few years ago, I had really bad tooth pain and it was because I needed a root canal. This was the worst pain I've ever been in by my life, like in my life. And it was like during Thanksgiving, and like my whole family, like when you're like sick or you're in pain and like your whole family hears about it and it's like the talk of the town, and like everyone came over and I was like, what's wrong with you? Like I heard you're sick. All of my aunts brought me like different variations of like painkillers, like prescription things. And my mom was like, you should really take one. I was in immense pain. It was really one of the only times in my adult life that I was like crying from pain, just like crying into my pillow. And my mom was like, you should take a painkiller. And I was like, no, I can't. I've seen Dope Sick. Like, I don't want to do it. So, and whatever, I didn't end up taking painkiller for that. I just took Advil, like 4 Advils, which I was so scared to do, but that's just Motrin 800 is taking 4 Advils. Okay, that's it for the health segment. So I never took my Benadryl because I was like trying to fall asleep naturally, and then all of a sudden, like 9:30 p.m. rolled around, and like then it was 10 p.m. and then I'm out here thinking like, oh shit, well, if we're landing at like 2 a.m. my body clock time, and then I take a Benadryl now and it takes 45 minutes to kick in, then like I will have only slept for like 3 hours, and then like to wake up when you're in like a deep sleep. And I didn't sleep, and I should have, and I wish that I'd taken the Benadryl, but I was also just so excited to get there. But we land at 2 a.m. and I'm still like feeling good. I'm chipper, like going through customs, and it's like 7 a.m. in Barcelona. And then it just like hits me, and I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is the most tired I've ever been. Because then at that point, it was like 4 a.m. in my body clock time. And okay, I've seen this online before, like people hate the kinds of people that are like, our bodies think it's 3 p.m. I am so one of those people. And I didn't realize that I would be, but like the whole time I was there, I was just like, oh my God, I've been awake for 19 hours. I've been awake for 24 hours at this point. And it was really stressful. So we get to our hotel at like 9 a.m., can't check into our room. And my mom and stepdad took an Ambien on the plane, of course. So they're like all bright eyed and bushy tailed. And Jack has the energy levels. Jack is the most energetic person I've ever met in my life. Like Jack, he's always like on 100. And I'm just like slogging through Barcelona the first day. Like I don't have that first, like when you're on vacation or you're in a new city and you get like, you feel like you're floating and you're like, oh my God, I'm in a new city. Should I move here? I did not have that at any point. I was just like, all I could think about was laying down. But eventually, like, we did get our rooms, and I got to take a 2-hour nap, and then we had to do like a walking tour of an architecture park, and I was really unwell, like really, truly, categorically, deeply unwell. And it low-key took me like 3 days, like almost all of Barcelona, to like kind of feel normal again. I wasn't really sleeping well the whole time, despite being tired. I wasn't sleeping well, and I felt guilty for sleeping in or like wanting to sleep in. And I was just so tired. But like the saving grace was that our pool, or our hotel, had a rooftop pool, and it was really nice weather. So Jack and I would lay out on the rooftop pool for like 2 hours every day. And that was how I could disguise my naps, because on vacation, there's like a stigma around being in your hotel room and laying down. And I've never thought that I was like this. Like I'm usually a pretty energetic person, and I'm not a sleepy girl. A lot of people are, but not me. Like I'm not a napper. I don't take naps. Like I'm just not like I sleep when it's time for bed. But having the pool on the rooftop, I could kind of just like, that was like my excuse to like take a nap and really lay down. So that was nice. I did love Barcelona though. Oh, so the other thing about the flights, so we landed on Saturday morning, and I wished that we had flown in on like Thursday morning or even Friday morning, because we didn't get like a weekend in Barcelona, because we landed Saturday morning, and I was so tired all of Saturday, literally couldn't function. Like there was no way in hell I was even attempting to go out on Saturday night. And Jack and I were like cruising for a bruise, and like we did want to have like a big night out in Europe. And I was a little like disappointed, because a lot of like the clubs we were looking at, bars we were looking at, they weren't open Sunday. And I was like, ugh. And then there was a small, Jack and I, we like just kind of ate dinner like around our hotel, and like I got 2 drinks Saturday. And there was a point where I was like, if you really want to go out, like I would do it. That's because I'm a 365 party girl. No matter how tired I am, like if you can guarantee me a good night, I'll do it. We ended up not going out Saturday, which was for the best. So I wish that next time I fly internationally or have like a big trip, like I want to make sure to fly in, like give myself a little bit of a buffer so I can have the weekend. Because like when we're traveling, like on vacation, every day is the weekend. And that was kind of like how I felt. And I just forget that like going to other cities, like just because I'm on vacation and it doesn't matter if it's Tuesday or Saturday, does not mean that for like other establishments. But then Sunday night, Jack and I did get our big night out. We were a little bit, it was off to a slow start. And I was like getting a little bit disappointed because like we really wanted to have a fun night. We really wanted to go out in Barcelona. And our other two nights in Barcelona were Monday night or Tuesday night. So we were like, okay, I guess Sunday's our best bet. We went to a couple bars. We're like asking around, you know, where people were going and not really a lot of people are telling us this one club called Opium. There's two famous clubs, I guess, in Barcelona. This is from what I gleaned from my 4 days there, called Opium and Apollo. And Opium is like multi floors, crazy, and I think Apollo is more like a big like music venue, and that is just not what we're in the market for. What I've come to realize with like my going out is I don't like huge, massive, gigantic, multi-floor clubs. I love like smaller, kind of like more intimate, a little like not necessarily like grungier almost, like, and a little more, I don't know, I guess more intimate, but also like with loud music and a DJ, but something where like you can kind of like move around. Like you could get up closer to the DJ stand if you want to. You can like get farther back. There's like different little pockets of the club to go into. So, and I like something that's a little like off the beaten path. Like I don't like a place with a huge line. I do like a certain level of exclusivity because I like knowing that I'm going somewhere where there aren't a lot of like freak shows. I just like going somewhere that's not like super well known by, I don't know, like there's clubs in Bushwick that I like, Bossa Nova, for example. Like you only go there if you like are like, you wouldn't get a bunch of like frat guys from Manhattan and these places. And that's kind of what, so like the frat bros version, the frat bros that we have in Manhattan, their version is like study abroad kids in like Spain. And God bless the locals of Barcelona and Madrid. If I had a bunch of like ragtag 20-year-olds from American universities, oh my God, I would go fucking insane. Like they run rampant, I guess. So when we were on this architecture tour, I ran into my younger brother's, this was actually like a crazy coincidence, but ran into my younger brother's friend who's studying abroad in Barcelona. And Jack and I were asking him like, oh, where should we go out? And then he hits us with, I'm not really sure where to recommend for like older people. And that was really jarring to hear because I was like, okay, I'm not 500 years old. Like, I like to go out. Like, I was like, you think we don't like to party? Like, I immediately got defensive and then felt bad about it because I've been in his situation where like, you don't realize what you're saying. And then I did understand what he meant because he's like, well, when my friends and I go out, like we go to these clubs and it's like all study abroad kids from different universities. And I was like, oh, so they go to like the big crazy clubs where it's like 18 and up, multiple floors. And I was like, okay, I definitely don't like that. Because when I think of club, I think of like smaller, more intimate spaces, like really, really dim lights, like not a lot of talking, more just like dancing, like kind of queer nightclub spaces. But I understood what he meant. So anyway, so that's what we were looking for. And people were like, oh, you could go to Opium. And I was like, I'm not going to a club that's 18 and up. Like, there's no fucking way. I don't want to be like a million feet away from the DJ stand, like swimming over people to get a drink. Like, I like somewhere that's a little smaller, a little less crowded, like 25 plus or 25 years, people that are 25 and older, I would say is what I like. So then we go to this one bar. We're on like our third bar at this point, just kind of like not having any luck, but like wanting to find something. And then we find these two guys from New York. They were so nice, so cute. They actually were finance bros from New York, but they were really, really cool. And one of them was from Mexico, so he spoke fluent Spanish. So we ended up hanging out with them. They're like, I think we're going to go to this club if you guys want to come. And we were like, of course. So we went with them and we found exactly what we were looking for. It was called Club Macarena in Barcelona. And it was just this guy working the door. We paid like 10 euros to get in. And it was total hole in the wall, but really, really cool. It was all like red light. It was a pretty small room with an upstairs. It was all like red lighting and a DJ booth, but you could like get right up to the DJ. I think there were only like maybe 60 people in the club max, and the bar was right there. It was super easy to get a drink, and like it was so fun because it was the perfect level of crowded. It really just felt like a party in someone's house, and we were making friends with all these people, and drinks were pretty cheap, and it was so fun. It was exactly what we were looking for. So that was really exciting. We stayed for a really long time. We were super hungover the next day, but it was totally fine because we could sleep off our hangover in the rooftop pool. But yeah, so that was really exciting, and I felt so validated going to that club because Jack and I took a cocktail making class later when we were in Barcelona, and we told our teacher where we went, and he like died laughing. He was like, "How did you hear about that place?" He's like, "I've never heard of a tourist going there. It's only locals." I'm like, "Yeah, that's how we roll." So that was really exciting. And then on Wednesday we transferred to Madrid. Again, I was so fucking tired. I felt like I couldn't function. Madrid was kind of a flop, and I'm sorry to any like Madrid fans in the house. I didn't hate it, but it was like not really. Well, it rained, so we were in Madrid 2 full days, and then we did a day trip to Toledo, which I'll get to in a second. Madrid, in yes, I have weather bias because it was rainy the whole time. I will fully admit that. I liked Barcelona better because it was like interesting to look at. Like the streets were really different, and like there's all like the Gothic quarter. Like we're going from bar to bar, but you're traveling and you're walking through the like tiniest, most narrow streets. It's kind of scary. I'm like, oh my God, is someone with a knife gonna jump out? But like Barcelona, it's just like different. It's unique. Madrid, it's just like a big city, and it's I live in New York, so I'm like, it's not really that exciting for me to see another city that's just like a big metropolis with like 6-lane roads. But there were cool areas. We went to more museums there, which was fun. We did like a more classical art museum, which I love, and it makes me want to take an art history class again because those are my favorite classes. And then we did a modern art class, and it was good. And then it was just, it was whatever. I wasn't like living for Madrid. And then day trip to Toledo, which was only 30 minutes from Madrid. That was the highlight of the trip. Toledo was so incredibly beautiful. It's like this really, really old town. Like it was founded in like 200, which is crazy. So like this really old medieval town that's like in the mountains kind of, and it's also like there's a river that runs through it. And we took a bus there and then a cab to the top of the mountain and like walked down, and there's just this really cool stone bridge that connects like the two parts of the city. And like the old town of Toledo was also like really narrow streets. It just was straight up like Game of Thrones. All I could think about was Game of Thrones. And we went to this beautiful cathedral, and it was so beautiful, and we had perfect weather that day, and it was like 60 degrees and sunny, and it was just like really, really pretty. And like I wished looking back that we had done like a night there. Like I don't know if there's more than like 24 hours worth there. I mean, probably, but it was just so, everywhere we went, every like lookout point we got was just like, this is insane. I definitely would go back and stay for a night. And then the next day after that, we transferred. Jack and I flew to Portugal. The flight was really easy. We did like tap Portugal, and it was so easy. But it was kind of scary traveling, or not scary traveling internationally, but I'm just like, I don't know, the airports like work a little different, like the boarding times, but it was fine. And then Lisbon was really nice, but I was just so tired at this point, like shocking, which is so unlike me. And I was kind of like the whole trip going through this weird, like internal, I don't know, like, why am I so tired? Like this is so unlike me. Like, am I just getting older? Then I was like looking at my mom and stepdad, and I'm like, how does everyone have more energy than me? How is everyone like, how does it seem like everyone's having more fun than me? I don't know. Is this so annoying? And then I'm like, oh my God, why am I complaining? Like, I did it up. Like, and now I even feel bad about like complaining about it, but it's just the truth. Okay. And on Literally Heinous, I always tell the truth. So, but Portugal was really nice. We were so excited to stay in this hotel. It's called Lisboa Pessoa. Pessoa was this really famous poet from Lisbon. He's like their pride and joy, which is kind of cool that like a whole city's pride and joy is a poet. Like you'd think it'd be like a politician or like a war hero or something. But bitches in Lisbon, Lisboa, love Pessoa. And this hotel, every single review mentions this one staffer's name, like every single one of them. His name is Yesoa. So we were so excited to go to Lisboa Pessoa and to see Yesoa. Every single review was like, Yesoa is the best hotel worker I've ever met in my life. Like, remember their names, whatever, whatever. So we get to the hotel and we were there early again, and Yesoa was not there. So I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, is it his weekend off? And also, I will mention that we got to Lisbon on a Sunday, which was a mistake because this is again, like next time I plan a multi-city international trip, I'm not going to be doing like, I'm going to make sure to have like weekends in certain cities, like, because we didn't go out in Madrid because, well, we went out one night. We went out Thursday night, kind of. We just went to one bar. Actually, we went to like two bars Thursday night. Friday night, we didn't go out because we were going to like Toledo the next morning, Saturday. And then after Toledo, Saturday, we didn't go out because we were going to Lisbon on like in the morning. We had to wake up at like 7 a.m. for our flight. We totally could have gone out, which is the other thing. Like, but I don't know, we just didn't. And so I wished when we got to Lisbon, I like had a little bit more energy because I was like in a new city and I was excited about it. But it was a Sunday. So next time I plan a multi-city trip, I'm going to be like a lot more cognizant of like planning my travel days on like Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So we get to our hotel and Yasuo wasn't there at first, and I was kind of nervous that it was like his day off or something. So we like walked around, and it was raining so hard when we first got there, but then cleared up like crazy. And Lisbon was gorgeous. I loved it. I really, really did. And then we get back to our hotel. Yasoa's there, and I'm like fangirling. I'm like, oh my God, Yasoa! Like I've read about you in the reviews. And he was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. He was really nice. Kind of crazy. Yasoa, get him on White Lotus season 4. Like, I don't care if he doesn't have any acting experience. Like, Mike White needs to go to Lisboa Pessoa and meet Yasoa because he was kind of crazy. Like, he almost went a little too above and beyond. Like, we got there when we got there. And we met him, and he was like telling us, we were asking like where to go for breakfast, and he's like, okay, what I tell tourists is go to this spot, but you guys, and I was like, okay, yes, I will. You say that to everyone. And then we had run out of euros at that point, and I said something. I was like, oh, like we don't have cash on us. We just ran out. He gives us $100 in euros, and he's like, just take this. Like you don't have to pay it back. Or if you want to pay it back, you can. Whatever works, just take it. I do it for all my guests. Like, this is why I have so many reviews. And I was like, Yasoa. And I was immediately like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not taking this guy's money. Jack was like, no, because, I mean, he like kind of forced us to take it. And then when Jack and I walked away, Jack was like, I don't trust this guy. Like, not in like he's a part of the mob, but like, is this going to come out of like our room cost, whatever? We end up just getting euros somewhere else and just like giving them back right away. But it was definitely kind of crazy. And then he called us the beautiful couple all the time. Anytime he saw us, he goes, hello, beautiful couple. He goes, Miss Lillian and Sir Peter. He could not remember Jack's name to save his fucking life. So I was Miss Lillian and Jack was Sir Peter. And then together we were the beautiful couple. So Yasoa was a little crazy, but we stan Yasoa. And he like, we asked for our room to be ready a little early because, and I mean, we were just like, you know, whatever, it'd be nice if it was because I wanted to lay down, shocker. And then It eventually was, and then he like pulled us over to the side and he was like, okay, you see this other guest right here? And I was like, yeah. He was like, well, he also is asking for an early room, so go to your rooms and like be really quiet. I was like, okay. But it was still really nice, and we had a rooftop there. And we had a really great time. Like the next day we went to this cool park, then we got these like crazy donuts, which like it was one of those like novelty donut places, and I always like see pictures and I'm like, oh my god, that looks so good. And then when I'm faced with something that's so like decadent and indulgent and like messy and just I'm like, ah. Like it looks good online, and then I see the pictures of it and then I'm like in front of it and I'm like, that is so much sugar, like I can't even whatever. Um but yeah, it was good. We got a beach day, which was so fun. Like our last day, we went to the beach. We went to Cascais. We took a train there. It was 40 minutes and it was really crowded for some reason. And I don't know if we picked like senior skip day or whatever, but it was all teenagers on our train and then on the beach. It was honestly so cool because like they just looked like they were having so much fun. It was all kids, like teenagers, and then like little siblings. It seemed like they were all kicking around a soccer ball, like all in different pods, kicking around soccer balls, and it just, I was like, wow, to be a Portuguese teenager, it sounds like so much fun. But yeah, it was all teens there, but it was really fun. And then yeah, we came back and the flight home was so easy. We flew home like daytime. We flew at like 9 a.m. and then I think our flight was at like 9 or 10 a.m. and then we were back in our apartment by 2:30 p.m. Obviously, that's plus like a time change and everything because you're going back. But that flight was like perfect. We didn't I fell asleep a little bit, but like it was so nice to just have the rest of the day to chill, and I had no issues readjusting the time here. I'm convinced because I never adjusted to the time there. So all in all, it was a great trip. I had an amazing time. I definitely like want to go back. I don't think I would go back to Spain unless I went to like a smaller town like Toledo. I've also heard Sevilla is nice, but I haven't been. I think one of my conclusions is that I don't really care for like traveling to other big cities because I already live in one. And like I don't know, and maybe that's like something that I'm realizing, but I'm also just trying to like not fucking diagnose myself. Like I feel like I always do that when I'm like unsure about something or feeling some way about something but not sure why I feel like that. I feel like I don't know, I tend to like want to diagnose myself. That's my working theory. But then again, I do love Paris. Paris is like my favorite city, but Paris is in a whole other league. Okay, so with my comedy stuff, I've slowed down a lot on stand up. I kind of like haven't really done it because, and I don't really have a reason just because I haven't really wanted to. And that counts. The last show I did was at my synagogue in Atlanta back in December. And I'm not kidding. Like, that was one of the best nights of my life, Loki. And so it happened because, like, my dad, he is involved at my synagogue. I go where my family's a part of this, like, really small, like, Jewish, obviously Jewish, Sephardic, which is like Jews from like Spain, Turkey, and Middle East and Mexico sometimes. In Atlanta, this like small congregation, and he was working with, or he didn't come up with the idea, but basically like the board wanted to do a comedy night fundraiser and have Jerry Farber, this famous Jewish comedian, he's, I'm not kidding, 87 years old, headline, and then have like me and another guy, Louis Galanti, shout out, who's also part of the synagogue and does stand up in Atlanta, like open for him and do this fundraiser. And my dad called me about it. He called me about it back when I was planning my first Lit Haines show. I remember it was so weird because I first started planning my first Lit Haines stand-up show at the end of May, beginning of June of last year. And my dad called me and told me about this idea and asked if I'd want to perform at the synagogue. And I was like, okay, sure. It didn't end up happening until December. And I was nervous leading up to it because I knew that I couldn't do like my regular material about like Brooklyn and like my boyfriend and just like, you know, young people stuff, because I'd be performing to like a lot of older people and like older Jewish people. And then my dad was like, you should write some jokes about the synagogue and write some jokes about like growing up at my synagogue and growing up Jewish. So I ended up like 2 weeks before, which like I really procrastinated, but like I worked with my dad and he helped me. We wrote like 10 minutes of like really solid material about my synagogue and it was a little bit like a roast. And the show rolls around. My dad's like, oh, 200 people are coming, by the way. I was like, 200 people are coming. It was honestly, and then I was nervous leading up to it for sure. Like I bought an outfit for it, obviously, and practiced my material a lot. And I felt pretty good in it. Like my dad liked it a lot. And like, I don't know. So like the show rolls around and like my synagogue, like they dressed up like the banquet hall. Like they had like there's a synagogue band, I guess. They had like a band performing. They had like food and drinks. The food and drink selection was off. Don't get ahead of yourself because my synagogue is not luxurious at all. You could only get like one drink. You would only get like one drink ticket with your ticket purchased. And I was like, I'm part of the talent. Like, where are my free drinks? But my dad just like we got the drink ticket, so it was fine. And I see like everyone I know there, like every family member, every Jewish person I know in Atlanta was there, like in all the older people. Like I saw so many people's parents that I know, like just it was nuts how many people came. Then I was like, holy fucking shit. And then like so Lewis opens and then the band plays and then I do my set and it went better than anything I ever could have imagined. Like I was really nervous to do it because it was a little bit like a roast of the synagogue and like the rabbi and like how old the synagogue is and how old everyone is and how boring it is and like how I always felt like growing up, like I went to the loser synagogue, like the conservative one where it was all in Hebrew and like not fun, and all my friends went to like the cool reform ones where you'd like sing the songs and like a bunch of kids went there and like at camp you knew like you all went back to the same synagogue, and I went to like the freak show one. But all my material went so well and I got to talk about my grandma during my set, which like I loved, just to like my dad's mom, who I loved, died in like 2016, and just to be able to like work her into my material and like bring her up and like to breathe life into like her name. You know, there's like the saying that like you die twice, like once when you die and then once when the last person says your name, something like that. So I always want to like keep her alive. And it was so good. It was like weirdly cathartic and like working through, I don't know, like just growing up Jewish and everything, like working that through with like stand up and like seeing so many people and just like having so much fun. And it was like, we raised a ton of money for the synagogue. It was a huge event. Like everyone turned up. So it was just so nice and like truly one of the best experiences of my life. And I don't think that that's a reason why I haven't done stand up since, not because like I peaked or whatever, but it was a little, for some reason, even after like my Lit Haynes shows, like for some, like I have so much fun and I'm so like appreciative of like what that moment was that it makes me kind of like hesitant to plan another one. So I don't know. I haven't been doing open mics, and also I haven't thought of like any material recently, and I haven't like thought of anything to say. Even if I'm like, okay, I should go to an open mic, or like, should I start planning my next show? And I'm like, I don't even know what I would say. Like for some reason, I feel like as nothing even interesting happened to me. Like maybe I'm just a little bit like disillusioned by the stand-up thing. Like I, you know what? I just haven't really been feeling it lately, so I haven't been planning it. And then next Lit Haynes show, I don't really feel like motivation to do it. I don't really know why. And I've been like thinking about like the first show I planned and like how it was all encompassing planning this show. Like it was like I had the idea and then it was just like no one could fucking stop me. And it's all I could talk about, it's all I could think about, like eyes on the prize. And then for my second show, it was kind of similar. There was like a little more like resistance, like internal resistance to plan it. But yeah, for this one, it's like I just haven't really. I am in talks with a venue in Manhattan actually, which would be cool. And I just I was supposed to go like scout the place last weekend. Like I didn't get around to it. And then like he texted me and was like, so like, what are your thoughts? And I was like, I still haven't even responded, which is like so bad. And then I'm like, okay, the fact that I'm like procrastinating responding about picking a date shows me that like not right now. It's not the time. My heart's not really in it. I don't have to do it. It's not like people are like holding pitchforks begging me to do it. Unless if any of you are, because it would actually help if someone was like, hey, like I fucking love your shows. Please plan. Because in my head, I'm like, no one's like, well, that's not true. People are asking me about it, which is really nice. And I always appreciate when people ask or when people like care about my shows or remember it or like want to come. But it's not like anyone's like begging me. So I'm like, I don't know. I just don't really want to. And I'm practicing being okay with that. I did pick up like so earlier this year, a few months ago, I was actually moonlighting working with The Box, which, if you remember from a few episodes ago, is a really famous nightclub in New York. It's super exclusive. It's like an erotic kind of like performance nightclub. It's very hard to get into. I've been rejected like 3 times, but I've gotten in once. And I earlier this year I was kind of interested in like learning more about like nightlife, because then I think after planning my shows, I was like, I think I like the planning part maybe more than the performing part, or like I just haven't been in like a performance mindset lately. So I was like, okay, maybe I should explore like opportunities in nightlife, especially in New York or in theater, or like how could I get in with like producing shows. And I reach out to the company that like owns The Box and this other nightclub called The Stranger, and just, told them that. And I was like, I'm interested in learning more about like how you plan events, like let me know. And I heard back like the next day, which was crazy. And one of the guys was like, yeah, like come if you want to like come chat, like I'll be at The Box from like 3 to 5 p.m. I was like, oh, okay. So I went and met up with him. He was so nice and like told me about like all the cool events that he's planned, and like performances and after parties and weddings and all this cool stuff. And it was really fun talking to him. And like going to The Box during daytime was so cool, because there was like construction going on in there, and I'd only been once like a year ago. So it's so weird to go during the daytime. And then I went to his other nightclub called The Stranger, which is on West 57th. And that place is so fun. It was so cool. Like I loved it so much. And then he brought me in to help me with a show that they're putting on called Never Sleep Alone, which is a live comedy dating show run by Dr. Alex. And she's this like incredible performer who basically puts on this like, it's like a dating show, and there's participants and then voyeurs on the top. She's been doing the show for like 10 years. So she did a 6-week run at The Box. So I was kind of helping them like promote it, like find journalists to report, to like pitch to, just like basically doing PR work on the side for them. And it was really fun. I ended up getting a reporter to respond and to write a story from my pitch, which is like a huge win in the PR world. And so I got to go to one of the shows and like meet the reporter, make sure she was comfortable. And the show was fucking amazing. I don't know where I know she did a 6-week run at The Box, but look it up. It's called Never Sleep Alone. It's so fun and high energy. Like definitely be a participant if you can. You have to be a participant if you're single, but also not if also you don't have to be single to do it, because some of the participant ones were crazy, like making out on stage, like blind dates, but then other things were just kind of like goofy, like questions, things like that. So much fun. Please do it and let me know how it is. And then there's an after party after the show just for the participants. So if you got to be a participant, then you get a golden condom and you get to ride on the bus to the after party at a different location each time. And they like partner with other nightclubs, and so they already have like people waiting, and the idea is like you go to an after party and get to practice all your new skills on new strangers. It was so fun. I had an amazing time. And then I did kind of realize that perhaps nightlife is not for me. Not for any reason of like the club or anything like that. I think that like the chaos was a little like, it definitely caused a lot of anxiety for me. It was really chaotic in there. Like I am just very like, I don't know, we were like running behind on time, like letting people in, and my reporter was texting me. It was so cold. This was like February, I think, or maybe it was March. It was freezing. My reporter was texting me. She's like, I'm outside and we said we were going to open doors 30 minutes ago, but doors weren't open. But I'm not like, I was nowhere near in a position to like say to people like, hurry up. So, but it was like really stressing me out that like, I don't know. And then with like the drink tickets, like there wasn't communication between like the bar staff, and it just gave me a lot of anxiety, I think, because I had to, like, I wasn't really in any control. Like when I plan a PR event, or like if I'm planning something at work, like I am in full control, or I know the people that are in full control. So I can like be like, hey, this thing's wrong. Like we need to fix it in that situation. And I know this was kind of like special because I was moonlighting. That's what they were calling, which is like such a nightlife term. I didn't know a ton of people, but I met so many nice people and everyone was so nice. But I was kind of thinking, I was like, maybe this environment is like a little bit too stressful for me. And yeah, and you know, I did that, and the reporter didn't even write the story, which was so annoying because then she was like, oh, my editor, like, you know, I don't know, she didn't write the story. So it was annoying that I didn't get like have that, you know, in my repertoire, because like in the PR world, like you're kind of measured by like what stories you land and what outlets through like your own pitching. But it was really good experience, and it was cool to see how nightlife worked. Do not have like access to the box now. Also, a part of me was like, ooh, like maybe like if I get to do this event with them, like I'll be cool with the box staff, and like I'll be not the case at all. So, and that's totally fine. Okay, so last few things. I've been thinking a lot about death recently. Well, I feel like I'm always thinking about it because it's stressful and scary, but I have had in the last month 3 very close friends' parents die, which is truly the saddest thing in the world, including and then my mom's mom died. So my grandma died back in February. So it's just been a lot of like death. And I don't know if I'm like at the age where like people kind of just start dying, or if maybe this is like a weird point, but it is absolutely gut wrenching watching your friends go through like the most traumatic thing that they've ever been through. And I think that like I've always felt a little like awkward around like my friends' traumatic experiences, or feeling really in my own head about like what to say and saying the perfect thing. But I've let go of that in the last year and realized I've like read stuff online about it, like best things to say, but like as an individual, you know, most of us are just like normal people walking this earth. We're not grief counselors. The onus of saying like the best thing is not on us. Just don't be a fucking moron and say shit like, just don't say dumb shit. There are certain faux pas with like things that you just don't say to someone whose parent or, you know, someone close to them dies. Like, you know, you don't want to say like, I could never imagine. Like saying the best and most perfect thing is not on us. Like we are not responsible for saying like the perfect thing. Like always say something and like always acknowledge it. I will never just comment hearts on someone's post. I would never fucking do that. And I see that like a bunch of people do that now, and just like comment heart, heart, heart emoji on people's posts. And I'm like, you can't even drum up some words. But I'll always text, or like if I don't even like know them well enough, like swipe up on a story, like send words to them. And I also think that people get like really like, okay, like something bad happens, like send them flowers, DoorDash, like what are we doing, like mobilizing, which is great. And I've done that, like I've participated in that. But what I've also found is like the best thing that you can do is check in over time. And I've had like other people say that, I've seen that online, but like when a friend's parent dies or whoever, everyone is like commenting, texting, calling like for the first month. But then after the month, like everyone moves on, but like they don't. And that's the weird thing about grief, is that like your grief doesn't like get smaller over time. Everything just kind of like gets bigger around it. So like it's nice to send the text or send the flowers or the gift cards, but like the best thing to do is to continue following up like once a week or even like once a month, and let them know that like you haven't forgotten and like you're still there. Because like we've all moved on. Like we acknowledge the death, we like said something, we did something, we went to a funeral, whatever, and then we move on and like we forget about it, which is normal. But like they haven't moved on. Like their fucking mom died or like dad died or whoever. So like continue to text and continue to be there for them. That's something that I've learned. But yeah, it's really hard and it's really sad to watch. I don't know. I just like death, man. It's so scary and I'm like trying not to think about it as much, but like I hate it, obviously. There's no like point to this story other than I don't know if that like helps anyone with any like trepidation, I guess, around like the right things to say or whatever. And this is all, by the way, I will just say this is coming from someone who has not like had a traumatic death. Thankfully, knock on wood, like God forbid, I like haven't experienced that and I'm so grateful for that. So like do with that what you will with my advice. I'm just kind of saying like what I've kind of learned other over time and also from TikTok comments because I am such a comment whore on TikTok. Like when I see sad TikToks like about someone dying or whatever, I am balls deep in the comments, like reading every single comments and every single comment that's under them. And like I just can't help it. I don't know why I'm like that, but I've read a lot of like threads about people who have had like traumatic deaths and like what the best things to say is. So that is where my knowledge comes from. And also from my mom, because my mom is like the best friend in the world. And one of her friends' husbands died like really tragically, really, really suddenly. And my mom is just like the goat for her. So like hearing my mom's experience and like all that she did for her friend and like continues to do, that taught me a valuable lesson about like, oh, like that's a good idea. Like I wouldn't have thought that. My mom sent her flowers on the month anniversary of her husband's death, like every month, which was like kind of crazy, but like my mom is just that bitch. She has been and she always will be. So that is where that has come from. I don't know if that's like helpful or anything, but it's just what I've been thinking about. Okay. We have a great guest lineup and it's almost summer. So thank you so much for listening. Bye.